Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 8, Reunion Part 1. On these reunion shows, I try to give, a little something. I don't quite know what I'm giving tonight. I'm giving a mixture of things, a little 80s, a little Janet moment, a little Janelle Monáe moment, a little Soul Train moment, just life, basically. Um, okay, so let's get straight into it. All the girls are very much so dressed in like goddess. They're giving very goddess tees. In very like cream colors and light corals and soft satins and things and ivory and moments. So all the ladies look lovely. Kim's hair is on point. Everybody looked good actually. Cynthia's always beat. Kenya's beat. Portia looked cute. I didn't necessarily like her dress. The top part of it, it was looking very cheap. Um, Phaedra's, I love Phaedra's dress. Phaedra's dress, ooh, that pattern, that material, that what was it? It was like feathers or beading. I don't know. It was something, but it was beautiful. Oh my gosh! And Sheree looks incredible. Sheree is beat to the gods. Yeah, I was gonna say something shady, but I'm gonna let it go. Okay. So let's get straight into it. It was a little shade at the beginning. They go straight into the whole shade, shady Sundays is what they call it. The whole shade fest of everything that's going down with the people. And Phaedra early on, she had made a comment talking about Kenya. She called her oatmeal pie face, and they was just going back and forth between clips. They got into that. Kenya didn't really appreciate that comment. And she was just like, how can you call me oatmeal pie face or whatever, and you're talking about my looks? And Phaedra was like, no, I was talking about your skin. You're a pretty girl, but you got bad skin. And Kenya was just like, no, that's not right. You don't get to talk about my skin and brown girls everywhere. You offended a whole group of people. I love all this chocolate. I love exactly who I am. As you should, Kenya, because if you don't love yourself, how the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can't get an amen up in here. Amen. So they had that whole moment, and I felt like there was a little, slight dig thing there, but I don't really think Phaedra meant anything by it as far as like dark skin, whatever, because she's dark skin her own self. I would consider Phaedra dark skin. So I mean, it's just like whatever. All right. So moving on. They ended up talking to Candy a little bit. They brought Todd out, his big head. I wonder if the baby got a big head, like Mama Joy said. They talked about the old LGs. Apparently, it's set to open on Candy's birthday. Don't tell me when her birthday is. And they had their little moment, and it was cute. Baby Ace Wells Tucker is here and alive and adorable. He looks just like Todd, just like Todd. Um, so let's see. Candy, oh my gosh, her post baby body. Candy's body is in freaking incredible. It is so on point. I love Candy's body. She is gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. The best she ever looked. Kick off your shoes and relax your damn feet, all right? Okay, let's see. Um, let's see. Just talked about that whole thing. They mentioned the whole thing with Ty going outside to talk. On the phone when she was having the ultrasound, and checking on the baby, making sure the baby was okay and everything. And Candy was just like, you know what, like everybody knows how much I like to make money, so I didn't mind him going out there and taking care of that business. Like, get your money, get your money. And it's like, of course, Candy, you're gonna defend him and whatever he does, whatever. Okay, they brought out Sheree. Sheree looked snatched, like I said. They told her what is her first impressions of Kenya. She was just like, I'm an OG. Like, Kenya crazy, like coming for me. Like, you don't do that. You don't come for the kids. Um, and she was just like, Kenya, they started laughing or whatever, and that was pretty much the end of Sheree. They talked about her little taglines, who gonna check me, boo, and Chateau Sheree and all this stuff, and keep renting, whatever, whatever. Um, They got into Kim Fields. They each asked the girls what do they think about Kim Fields. Do they think that she's a good fit for the show? And to sum it all up, all of them pretty much said no. And Kim was just like, look, I still don't know if this is a fit for my show, a good show. I still don't know if I'm a good fit for this particular show. However, I'm gonna get this right. However, forever. However, you know, it was entertaining or whatever. Do I think that Kim should return for another season? I really don't care at this point. I'm gonna say no, but even if she does, I mean, whatever. I mean, what the hell are any of us gonna do, really? I know she's on Dancing with the Stars this season, and that's uh, whatever. It's just a rating. It's about ratings, right? And a check for her. All right. Let's see. Hmm. All right, they go into Candy and they get into Phaedra's whole thing, and Phaedra's just like Candy's just like, you know what, don't come from my man and this and that. They get into the whole tape thing. Um Candy, she gets very defensive. She gets, very upset. They asked about their status of their relationship, what's going on with that. And Candy was just like, I mean, we cool. Phaedra's just like, look, I brought her ass some chicken salad. So I don't know. I mean, we could be cool, but we could not be cool. Who knows at this point? Um, let's see. Cynthia mentions that Apollo also left some shit at his house, some car or something. Apollo was just going around leaving stuff at all his friends' house. And apparently Phaedra felt like she owned that stuff, and so she felt like they was less of a friend because they didn't let her know. Their whole thing was they thought that Phaedra knew about it. My whole thing is this: who gives a damn about any of this? About any of this? It's ridiculous. Like, I felt like this was brought up for the folks just to have a storyline. This is stupid. Nobody gives two shits. I promise you guys. Nobody. Um, I mean, Apollo was just leaving stuff at his homeboy's house. Yes, they had women, but he was just leaving it at his homeboy's house or a lover's, allegedly, house. So, it was a thing between the men. Like, I mean, but I don't know. Maybe Candy had ulterior motives, but I personally don't think she does. Um, they got into the whole thing. What Phaedra say, and I fell out. She was just like, I hope I get my check, referencing Todd and everything. And Candy was just like, I mean, well, to be honest, the check wasn't written yet. Apparently, they've settled their deal, and now Phaedra had finally given him the money. But Candy was just like, well, the $30,000 that you owed him wasn't written yet. So my man can talk about shit and he's gonna bring up facts and I'm gonna talk about facts. You're just giving opinions and all that. When Phaedra was throwing shade all season. I'm so glad they got into Phaedra though, because Phaedra was reading every single person all season for no reason. The only person she really didn't read this season was Portia. That's it. Everybody else she read. And of course, Sheree. Did she well, Sheree a little bit too, but not as hard. But she read everybody with Portia pretty much, and I'm so glad they was giving it to her ass about that. And they also a viewer he brought up a good question. He was just like, "Look, it's so funny that Phaedra, is kind of funny about paying money back when she wouldn't even help Sheree back when she was helping Sheree with the whole Bob thing, the divorce thing. She wouldn't even help Sheree unless Sheree had all the coins. So it's just funny how, point blank, straight up and down, Phaedra is a crooked lawyer and, she's cheap and there you go, straight up. Andy asked her what's the status of the tape now. She was just like, oh, she's sending it to some editors and she has to edit the tape and the edits and all this shit. I sound like Potomac, don't I? And all this old mess. It's just like whatever, shady Faye, whatever. They get into the whole candy coated gang, which consists of um, Candy, Don Juan and Common, and they get into that, and Portia was just like, look, that whole situation that happened with Don Juan, when we was talking and everything, he came up there, that had nothing to do with him. And Candy was just like, well, you was talking about Todd in a business sense. That does have something to do with him, talking about the money. That does have something to do with him. Don't do me. Don't play me at all. Um, so they continue to go back and forth um about the whole Candy Coated gang, and Candy was just like, look, Don Juan is gonna stick up for me. He ride for me. Them my peoples. I've been friends with them forever. They ride for me, and I'm gonna ride for them. My whole thing is this. Um, one side of me is saying that I do appreciate Don Juan for stepping in, but Don Juan is messy and he's angry and he needs some ultimately. And I just honestly, like, I felt like it wasn't his place to do that. He was just being messy. I do agree with Portia that he did just want a little camera time. And there you go with that whole thing. I've tried to like Don Juan over and over again. It does not work out. It just doesn't. He could be a good person. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I don't know the nigga. But what I am saying is that he is a very shady person. And if he's jealous of you, or if you feel like, he could possibly get something from you, or if he feel like that you're disrespecting one of his friends, then he's gonna go completely in. Which like I said, I kind of agree with, then I kind of don't. Ultimately, I just feel like you should mind your business with certain things. That's how I feel. If anything, he should have just damn recorded it on the side, or just went back to Candy and told her the whole situation, and then let her handle it and see if they told her the truth when she confronted them about it. That's how I probably would have handled that situation. I wouldn't just come over there and just start arguing with women, because they're gonna go and the first thing they're gonna attack is your sexuality and go in and this and that. But Don Juan is a special case in the head for real. He's just not really that likable at all. Okay. So let's see. We get into Kenya and Tootie Fields. And they're talking, and they're going back and forth. Kenya's doing her usual routine, which is interrupting people. Um and she Ken they asked Kim about what did she think about Life Twirls On. And Kenya was just like, look, not Kenya, Kim, they asked Kim what she think about Life Twirls On, and Kim was just like, look, I appreciated what she did. I felt like the thing had potential. And she actually complimented Kenya. She was just like, she appreciated Kenya being funny and being all extra, because in her experience, most pretty girls just want to be pretty and not be funny and be extra, not afraid to be ugly, all that stuff. And so after that, Kenya cut her off, and she was just like, yeah, but in that same breath, you and your husband was going back and forth and commenting. And it was just like, look, um, I'm not like, did you really think that Chris wasn't going to be there? That's her husband. They was watching the film together. Chris had made some shady comments and this and that. But Chris is just, I mean, who cares, Kenya? Like, come on. But Kim ultimately was just like, look, because of the things that was happening on personally in the inner circle, it really made me think twice about working with Kenya. So I just decided not to work with Kenya, basically. Um, and so they're going back and forth. One of the questions was, Andy asked Kenya, was she jealous of Kim Fields? And she was just like, no, I'm not jealous of her. I will acknowledge that she was a child star. Um, and it was funny. And then she was just like, look, um, Andy was like, look, she also worked in the 90s and all that stuff. And she was just like, yes. She was like, you miss USA in the 90s. One thing that I thought was funny was Sheree and Candy. They kept talking to each other, making comments and stuff. That was pretty funny. Um, Portia, she chimed in when they was talking. She brought up something. She was just like, look, As far as the whole threats thing and Kenya pushing her chair. Kenya did apologize for that, all right? Kenya very much so did apologize for pushing out Kim's chair. And she was completely wrong for that. And then Portia was she was trying to compare that situation to her and Kenya's situation. She dragged her across the floor like a swivel sweeper. And Kenya was just like, no, you can't compare the two and this and that. And she was basically just talking about the whole provoking thing. I think hopefully Kenya has learned her lesson because even though I'm Team Twirl, Kenya, you cannot go around, excuse me, you cannot go around provoking people and thinking ain't nothing gonna happen to you. But see, you do this on the show, for obviously for ratings. That's why Kenya gonna be there forever. And also because these girls, there's always security around ultimately to break up whatever. You can't just do this to any bitch in the street. You might get snatched down and ain't nobody gonna help, boo. Ain't nobody gonna pull them off you. So Kenya knows what she's doing and everything, like I said, which is why she's always sitting to the right of Andy. She's always the first person on that couch, either on the right or the left of Andy, all the time, if you notice. That's her permanent seat. And if you've noticed, the way that they do these Real Housewives shows, um, or I think any reality show in general, the most important person or the person that brought the most that season, they sit usually right beside the host. It's two ends, and they sit at one of those ends. And Kenya's been at those ends since she got on the Housewives show. So Kenya doing something right. Um, so let's see. Was that pretty much it? Uh, they just started arguing pretty much Kim and Kenya, um, and Kenya ended up talking to Portia. They was going back and forth, and she was just like, "I'm speaking." Kim got real upset at that. Kim was just like, "Hey, don't do that, Kenya. Don't do that. You can't say I'm speaking when you interrupt everybody else." And they going back and forth, and Kim, say something. Sheree, what you gonna do? So funny. So funny. Sheree was absolutely hilarious. I think they might as well just give Sheree back her peach. It's just gonna be very interesting if they keep all these women for next season. It's also gonna be the same old shit. We know these girls, we were invested in these girls, we know what they're gonna bring. But it'd just be funny if they bring all of them back. Meaning we have Kenya, Candy, Phaedra, Portia, Cynthia, Kim, Nene, and Sheree. That's gonna be crazy. 8 housewives, old housewives, and new housewives. Crazy, crazy, and anybody and everybody in between. That'll be a mess. So next week, I think. Well, it might be part three. It's either next. Usually on part two is when they bring out the husbands. It's probably when they're going to bring out the husbands. There's pretty much my review, y'all. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Um, no, I really don't think I'm missing anything. This was entertaining. This reunion. It could get better. Hopefully, it gets better. Um, but let me see. Okay, that's pretty much it. You guys tell me what y'all thought about everything, the reunion and all that good stuff. All right. I'm Mr. Chalaki on YouTube. Follow me on Google Plus. At ITSKINGWORLD on Instagram and Twitter. Chase King was here on Facebook and at ITSKINGWORLD 89 on Snapchat. All right, ciao. This week it's hot. My God.